As you sit here now, listening to these words, you may begin to notice a shift. A small shift at first. Perhaps just a feeling, an idea, an awareness growing in the back of your mind. Because isn't it interesting how something that once felt so heavy, so permanent, can now begin to feel lighter, looser, ready to dissolve? You used to think that humiliation defined you. But what if it was never about you at all? What if the laughter of others was never a judgment, but merely a reflection of their own fears, their own uncertainties? And what if every time someone tried to ridicule you, they were actually handing you power? Because you see, the strongest people aren't the ones who avoid ridicule, but the ones who transform it. And maybe you've noticed the best comedians, the most charismatic leaders, the most powerful voices in history. They didn't escape ridicule. They embraced it. They owned it. They turned it into fuel, into art, into a source of untouchable confidence. So what if, from this moment forward, every time someone laughs at you, you feel a surge of power instead of fear? What if every moment of past embarrassment actually strengthened you, reminds you that you've always survived, and that means you're unstoppable? And isn't it fascinating how the mind can create rules, limits, beliefs that seem so real? I must hide, I must be serious, I must protect myself. But where did those rules come from? And if they were created, doesn't that mean you can uncreate them? Doesn't that mean you can replace them with something better? Because the truth is, there's nothing to protect, nothing to hide, nothing to prove. Only a life waiting to be lived, a voice waiting to be heard, a world waiting to see you in your full, unapologetic expression. And you've already begun. The moment you decided to let go, the moment you started questioning, that was the moment you stepped into something greater. And now, as you think about this, as you wonder how this will change you, you may find yourself already feeling different, more open, more alive, more free. Because after all, if you're the creator of your own reality, then isn't it time to create one where you shine? And as this settles into the deepest part of your mind, as you begin to integrate these truths effortlessly, without even trying, you might start to notice how much easier it is to breathe, how much lighter you feel, because now you're no longer carrying the weight of the past. You're walking forward, unshackled, limitless, fully yourself. And isn't that a powerful thing? Because isn't it interesting how a single moment, a single experience can seem so powerful, so defining, as if it were carved in stone, unchangeable, eternal. But what happens when you realize that memories, they're not set in stone? They're stories, interpretations, perspectives. And perspectives can change. Because when you were a child, you saw the world through a child's eyes. But now, you're no longer that child. You're someone more, something wiser, stronger, more aware. And when you look back at that moment, when you see the small version of yourself, hiding, afraid, can you also see now that they were never weak? They were simply learning, growing, adapting. That their emotions, they weren't proof of failure, but proof of feeling, proof of being alive. And what if that moment of humiliation wasn't a wound, but a gift, a test, a moment that when seen in a new light, unlocks a new power within you? Because haven't you noticed that the people who rise the highest, they're the ones who are knocked down the hardest? That the greatest stories, the most powerful transformations, come from those who once felt powerless. And so you begin to wonder if all this time the thing you were running from was actually the thing that could set you free. Because you used to believe that strength meant suppressing, that to be strong meant to be unshakable, untouchable, unaffected. But what if true strength is the opposite? What if true strength is feeling everything and still standing tall, still moving forward? What if real confidence is not in avoiding ridicule, but in embracing it, owning it, laughing with it until it no longer controls you? And maybe you've already started to notice that every time you let yourself feel, truly feel, instead of pushing it away, something amazing happens. The fear dissolves, the shame fades, the energy that was once trapped, locked up inside, begins to move again. And in that moment, there's life. In that release, there's power. And now, when you think about it, wasn't it exhausting, carrying all those rules, all those beliefs that told you to be this way, not that way, to act tough, not soft, to shut down, not open up? But what happens when you let go? When you stop trying to control everything, and instead allow yourself to be exactly as you are? Isn't it amazing how the more you let go, the further you can go? The more you release, the more power you gain. The less you try to force it, the easier it all becomes. And the more you think about it, the more you realise the reality, it isn't something that happens to you. It's something you create. And the people who shape the world, leaders, visionaries, the truly magnetic ones, they're simply the ones who hold their frame the strongest. The ones who believe in their version of reality so completely, so unshakably that others begin to believe it too. And so now you begin to wonder, what happens when you do the same? When you hold your own truth so powerfully, it becomes unquestionable. What happens when you stop seeking approval, stop waiting for permission, and instead decide that your reality is the one that matters? That the world adjusts to you, not the other way around. And isn't it fascinating how the stronger you hold your frame, the more people begin to see things your way, the more confident you become, the more others follow, the more you believe in yourself, the more unstoppable you become. And so right now, you may begin to feel it deep inside, that shift, that moment where the old beliefs crumble, where the rules dissolve, where the chains break apart, and you step forward, lighter, freer, more alive than ever before, because now you see, you understand, you know. You're no longer that child. You're no longer trapped by your past. You're something greater. You're stepping into something bigger. And as this truth sinks into the deepest part of your mind, as it becomes a part of who you are, you may find yourself wondering what happens next. And isn't that an exciting thought?